And now we've got another thing that we need to talk about. And I want to bring it away from talking about Legends and Rise and Fries and things like that and start talking about balls.
Nice.
Because Yunara has been enabled.
Aren't they
And I
orbs?
think that...
Hold on a minute.
Orbs are balls.
Yeah, balls, orbs, same
Back
thing.
me up.
Spheres?
Yeah, I think they're
Spheres
spheres.
is fine?
Not all spheres are balls.
Balls are all
balls are
spheres.
spheres.
Yeah.
Doesn't work the other way.
It's a round object.
Okay, anyway, you go off.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, now you've kind of broken my brain. I'm trying to work out whether balls are spheres and orbs and
You can
whether
take your
all
time,
of them
just-
can be the same.
Get on top of it, establish your
Yeah.
will view on spheres, balls, orbs.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
then push
I'm
forwards.
pretty clear on mine, but like it might take other people a little bit slower to figure out exactly the way they want to view the world. They want to soak it all up
And now I'm trying to,
analyze.
because I feel like I've dropped the ball, but did I?
You dropped the... Did you?
The sphere.
Was it a sphere?
Don't let him
I mean,
attack
if you did
first
drop
with
the ball,
bad
it
facts.
was a sphere.
Did I
Bad
drop the
facts.
orb?
Yeah.
Orb, spheres, balls, mostly the same.
But is a metaphorical ball, as in he dropped the ball, but there's no physical ball actually a sphere. Like, in that he
Yeah.
messed up his analysis in this moment and dropping the ball, that's not actually a sphere in
If
this
you
case.
close
So
your
you're actually
eyes-
making me rethink every ball is a sphere.
If you close your eyes...
Metaphorical balls aren't spheres.
If you close your eyes and see yourself dropping it, is it a ball, is it a sphere, is it an orb? Can you tell the difference?
What color is it?
It's blue for me, weirdly enough.
Who am I?
So Yunara, so you meant to say we're talking about Yunara.
It's one of these Pog State episodes.
It wasn't even a 6-game.
It was worse. I think if it was a 6-gamer, it would have been fine. What I was going to say, before ball...
You should get that checked out.
Resort to sheet. Yunara has finally been open to play. She's so OP.
Yeah, it's the she's so OP that I kind of I do want to bring up, right? Because we did just see, like, okay, it's okay, pull it together, we'll be all right.
Okay, Cuphead, come
He's
on.
D-gone now.
Is it balls we have a problem with, or is it orbs or spheres?
It's blue spheres that I have a problem.
Ah, be careful with that.
He's more of a green sphere sort of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not blue blades. All right. Viper did just lose on the Yunara. I think this was pretty cut and dry, the conversation about Yunara just being ridiculous. But the way that it was just kind of dissected and destroyed by Genji earlier today, and I know it's Genji, so it's a little bit of a different story, but like their draft looked like it had absolutely no hope in that particular game, from what I was sort of feeling.
You mean Hanwha's draft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like finally at the end of the week, we sort of got this like answer to Yunara and whether she is OP or not. And it was to just kind of like ignore the lane entirely and then dissect the team fight.
I think, obviously she's a really strong AD carry, but similarly to picks like Zeri or Vayne, where like, you know, high damage output, quite mobile, quite hard to pin down, there is certain combinations of champions very effective against those. And
Like
a great
Wukong?
example, Wukong, Rakan, those two together. You know, if you're like, guys, you know, I've invested everything into my OP 80 carry, and it's like, well, I have this, which smash 80 carry.
Better not get CC'd, I guess.
Did you notice
Yeah.
they were
Wait.
standing next to each other the whole game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Duro and Canyon were just like linked arms skipping around the rift together. Oh, let's murder someone.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's probably what the comms
It
were.
felt like Genji with that draft were like, nah, like, we'll leave Wukong Yunara up and see what they do. Oh, they left that angle for us? Like, let's see what they do. And it was almost like a test. And they were like, ooh, they failed the test. The Ari pick was another problem. Like, I know we were talking about Yunara, but that was another thing that was
Bizarre.
completely
But
off the rails.
The Ari is a problem. They let them get the Wukong. Okay, this has all been established. And then they left the Rakan to second rotation.
That was the
Yeah.
issue, yeah.
Like-
it was last pick. It was R5, the
Yeah.
Rakan.
I just genuinely think that, like, you know, individual champion, Yunara in terms of individual champion budget, very strong. There's a lot of individual champs who, like, this one champ is really strong. Wukong, individually, very strong. But Wukong, Rakan, I think if you let the enemy team get that, it's just like, ugh. Especially if you have, like, champions that are vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's so hard to do. Because you saw the amount of times Viper's just like, oh, I'm farming, I'm dead.
Another game to think about that might be a better example for showcasing what Yunara could do and how like she can be broken is that game. You guys probably remember the game where Guma played Lucian with Electrocute, and he tried to put Ruler down in lane early, and he did. And like Ruler was like out of the game until there was a fake recall from Duro, and then they caught the Lucian, and then it was like, oh, no, Ruler's just completely broken now, like completely wide open. He's pushing in on the Lucian. He goes into mid lane. He cannot be stopped. And like, it's that type of game where you don't have enough engage. It's just the Rakan in this case, and you're like, it's donezo. Like, we can't stop it.
And they did the right thing. They spent the resources to make sure that the Yunara didn't do stuff, and then all of a sudden, as soon as she does one thing, it's the whole thing is falling apart.
Well, I think that's the thing is like her passive increases the damage from crits, right? So she basically doesn't have a passive early game. A lot of her abilities, when she activates her ult, all her abilities get amped like crazy, and they scale with rank and ult. So like, you know, if you get later in the game, you have more points in your ult. Her laser does way more damage. Her dash is faster, but also like her ult, it's kind of like Zeri, where when Zeri ults, it's so much power.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just one of these champs where if she gets to the point where she has items, if she's in a team fight, if you can't immediately explode her, she just does so much damage. She's just
Also
so
feels
hard
like
to
the
deal
cooldown
with.
on ult is just like it's always up, is what it feels like for every time that a team wants to fight.
You're not really getting value. There's not many situations where you're like, oh, we bit her ult.
Yeah.
We have a big window.
You
where we're
only
like,
want to
we're gonna
ult on
fight.
objectives. You're not like, I'm ulting to win this skirmish for vision.
But no, I feel like I've seen that happen and it's been fine.
Sure, it can happen. But like the other thing about Yunara, which I kind of underestimated when I was watching like people stream her and stuff, was how broken the Q is actually. Where you just it felt like it was gonna be hard to stack the Q in lane, and like you could get bullied by a lot of champs. Varus is banned always, so that's not a problem. Then you get into these lanes, or even the Electrocute Lucian, where if you get control for just 1 second, you're like, I just hit the minions and get my Q, and then no one can trade with me. I out-trade everyone. So sure, she doesn't have a passive, which is true, like, early on. But, like, when she presses Q, it's like, well, no one can out-duel this champion. She just does way too much damage. It's like Jinx being excited, but it could happen at level 1 in theoretical sense.
Yeah.
It's like Cog W. I mean, obviously you don't get the range, but it's just like you have to respect it so much. And the thing is, if you're playing something like, you know, the Electrocute Lucian, and you're like, you go in for your combo, and let's say you miss your piercing light because, you know, there's a sidestep, it's like you're suddenly so vulnerable. And I think that's something that's like kind of scary, because it's one of these picks where, I mean, these are picks that often define the meta, are like super strong, because you think of like a pick who scales really well as like, okay, this champion has to be weak, like Kayle. It's the Kayle or Kassadin are like the prime examples of like scaling champions where you think, oh, they are kneecapped early because they're very strong late. But the champions we often see out in pro are more like a Zia, where he's really good in lane, really safe, and then is also very good in the later stages. And I feel like she has trading power in lane, and obviously the big lane bullies can give a problem, but you can still weather the storm. And then, you know, she has skirmishing power as well, and then a team fighting is just insane. It's kind of like how many Zeri games would have where
I was going to say the same thing.
there'd be a skirmish that would happen. Zeri would slide in, clean up the fight. That's enough gold. You're golden, and the game's just over. And even like, you know,
I mean, that's the classic certification.
It's the Zeri moment, right?
Yeah.
And the Yunara moments can happen as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think just if you're a team, you're playing against it like a Kassadin. That's what I was going to say, the level 16 kind of timer. It's not level 16 for Yunara per se, but it is a timer that you're trying to dance around and not accelerate with unnecessary skirmishes. However, the difficulty is that the wave clear is there when you're stacking.
And Kassadin is more like Kayle in that it's hard to win those skirmishes on these champions.
And also,
like
these champions are unanswerable
like,
later in the game. Yunara will always get killed by a Cyclone.
Yeah.
It seems like a very punishable pick, and I think part of the way that she's sitting in the draft right now is because it's like on red side, you're like, well, Wukong's up. If I like, you know, if I ban, like, if Wukong's banned, you're like, okay, I have to ban her because they'll first pick her, and we don't have Wukong. If Wukong isn't banned, then you're like, ugh, and sometimes you have that trade. But then it's awkward because the team is on blue side. It's like, do I want to pick it with Wukong up? And we saw Hanwha try it. It didn't work. Part of that was the rest of their draft.
I think she's also really flexible as well. It's like you can play her with engaged supports pretty happily in lane and just like kind of weather the storm, and she's still got all of that pop-off potential in the late game. Like when you look at first picks, like yes, it's good if they're strong, but it's also incredibly good if it allows your draft to be somewhat flexible. And when you've got a champion that's just like it's overtuned, then it can fit into a whole bunch of different scenarios and just kind of be okay. So I think that's probably what's providing like a lot of the value. Varus is the same. I think Varus is like, because he fits into so many different archetypes, is why you see him also being either pick or ban first rotation, just because like the coaches want to retain the ability to like turn this into a different draft whenever they'd like to. It's why flex picks have been so
The
powerful.
flex.
I haven't looked too much into the new patch, except I know like there's some funky changes with like Nautilus and stuff, and AP
Dude,
junglers
the
are coming
brand
back.
upgrade?
But does
Ooh,
Yunara
baby.
get any changes? I don't think so, right? Next patch?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
I'm not
She's.
100%.
I mean, if the move away is from less like engaging junglers and less like ways to lock her down, maybe her probably even goes higher. Like who knows? But I'm hoping that she ends up in a place where she gets nerfed a little bit. I think nerfs are deserved. She gets into a place where she is a strong AD carry pick that you can build for scaling in a lot of drafts, but it's not just perma first pick. And like if there's no engage, she just takes over the game because it's very polarizing pick right now. And it's sometimes fun to watch, but otherwise you're kind of like, I know they have the ways to kill her or they don't, and she kills everyone, and it feels very black and white. And that's not, I think, healthy the way it is.
Yunara
it
is
is-
untouched.
Yeah, and it is new patch next week, right? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
for LCK.
Yeah. And so we will get like, I feel like next patch is going to be really interesting because they're like just bringing a whole bunch of champions back. The Callista changes are also like crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to like. Buffing the AP ratios
People
is
have been
kind of like
trying her
confusing.
AP. It's a little weird because you have. I mean, there's different builds that have kind of like lent into it that we've seen.
Wouldn't it be really hard to play just because like now you need to calculate Ren damage so much? So if you're actually like the amount of people that would just be overkilling by 1 billion,
Yeah.
because like your autos do 0 and then like you hit them for 12,000 or something.
Yeah, it's obviously you need to calculate, but also they've been like kind of hybrid builds, so you still have decent amount of auto damage, but then you lean into the AP a bit.
Yeah, the whole
so-
point was that like the AP from Rageblade will feel less bad, and so 2-item spike better, right? I think is
Yeah.
how it's supposed to feel.
But I feel like, you know, when we have all these changes, some of them will stick, and we'll see some that come in and we're like, yeah, this is great, and then some of them will not stick, and we will see them like once or twice. Teams will lose, and then we'll never see them again. Mm-hmm. Because yeah,
And we don't have a lot of games left for them to try and experiment, right? We've got 4 games per team left, and so they're not gonna. There's going to be a lot of learning from other teams, I think, in terms of like the patch change champs, the jungle champs. I think.
I think it's also going to vary from team to team. You know, certain teams have a lot more freedom to experiment. You know, a certain team who are locked into first place might
Also, like
Who have a really strong AP jungler on their team.
yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, there are certain players that are just in love with these choices, right? Like, the brand jungle has, like, just AP junglers in general have always been something that Canyon's really loved. Like, there are a bunch of junglers, and I can't remember who. Like, we know, like, the Zyra enjoyers. A lot of our Rise group junglers really did like a bunch of the, like, heavy farming AP junglers that we've seen as well. So I'm kind of interested in what it's going to bring out, like whose champion pool is going to be challenged the most by some of these picks, like if they are actually like pick or ban worthy, because like that's a big test that you have to really pass. Otherwise you could just be losing a bunch of games because you're forced to ban things that the other team doesn't have to.
I think for me, Nautilus is kind of the craziest one because his clear is super fast, and you combine like a super fast clear with a champion who can gank so well, is like a super scary thing to go up against. But my only concern is that like when I think about the jungle meta at the moment, it boils down to one thing: do they build Sundered Sky? And you don't build Sundered Sky on Nautilus, so I mean,
Wait, why can't you?
you know, no, the thing is, like, I expect we'll definitely see him, but I don't know if he'll be like. I mean, I think Wukong is still gonna be first priority, and I think Sundered Sky. I think when that gets nerfed, it could honestly open up the meta a lot more because I think it is choking out some of our like tank junglers and stuff. Just because like once you complete that one item, I feel like it's just so OP because it doesn't just represent so much damage, but the sustain.
Healing.
The healing is so stupid.
It's just like auto skirmish win. Like I feel like it's even more. So, I know we've gone through like Gore
I
Drinker
was
when
gonna
it
say
was
it's,
super
it's like
OP.
the next generation of Gore Drinker. Gore Drinker, you get it all at once. Sundered Sky, you gotta like tag everybody.
yeah.
But like with Gore Drinker, like you have to like time at the right time. If you didn't hit enough people,
I
you
feel like
misused
Gordrinker was
it.
better because at least it was a fun moment, you know, watching an Aatrox go from 0 health to 800 billion at the one press of a button.
You have to hit multiple right, and it's a cooldown. Like you have to use it at the right
Yeah.
time. Whereas I feel like Sundered Sky, it's like, oh, I have to auto someone as Xin Zhao. Oh, don't mind if I do.
I will will say, because of that, we did have the #1 pick for Mad Movie last week, which was the owners in Zhao play, where he just got like...
He abused Under Sky,
Yeah, 800 health. Yeah.
I mean, obviously players are making sick plays with it.
Peanut was an abuser today.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, actually. But I do hope that the changes lead to bringing back great moments for the best nickname we came up with for one of the junglers this year. Gideon Grubbs. I just hope
I
that
forgot
Gideon
about
has
that, to be honest.
Gideon Grubbs.
Gideon Grubbs was the best nickname we gave this
we
year,
used to have
and
double grubs, man.
and I think part of that was like Zyra Brand, but maybe I'm misremembering. Whatever. Make some changes so that Gideon can have his moment in the sun one more time.
I think he could probably take the Grubs.
Yeah, he's still allowed to do that. Grubs is still in the game.
He hasn't been able to a lot the last 8 games.
Well, you know, I
That's a
said
good
that.
memory, man. I made Gideon Grubs, but I just I don't know.
We haven't
I
had a
deleted
chance to
I
use
deleted
it.
Yeah.
You know, I said that thing earlier about like the legend group teams have really downloaded the other team, like T1 Gen G. They know about Gideon Grubbs now. So
This is
he
the
tries
problem.
to step over there, and you just have like Canyon and Chovy are watching, like, oh, I know what you're doing.
We know that these be the Gideon Grubs.
maybe the patch helps D+ because they're a team that has been pretty good at adopting new strategies quickly.
Or maybe they just get border than other teams, and so like
Maybe.
as soon as they're
Same thing.
bored, they like do dumb stuff. Like, maybe that's
maybe
we needed a shake up for that
Dumb
reason.
stuff is smart though. Like when Canyon was on D+, okay, I know this is a long time ago, but like they would always pull out like the Karthus and do fun things, and like sometimes at the beginning of the year they did it. We were like, wow, these fearless drafts are quite unique and different. Now they did. I remember in the playoffs of LCK Cup. They were like, we're going to play a little bit more normal now. We cooked too much. And we were like, actually, I don't know if you should
No,
play normal. They
back
played
in the
normal
kitchen,
and they
back
got
in the kitchen.
smashed, right?
Yeah.
We were like, oh, that was, maybe go back. And they never went back to the kitchen. Like, they were just like kitchens closed. Like, what's the thing? Like, up for rent or whatever is posted
Yeah,
on the...
for lease. Yeah.
For lease, yeah, thank you. For lease on the door, man. I don't know.
I feel like now it's like the zaniest thing we get. It's like Showmaker's like, I'm going to bring out something crazy. It's TF. And it's like, Showmaker, this is the 7th time you've...
Yeah.
Your zany...
We know you've got a cool skin. Like it's fine.
Can't you bring something new for once?
Yeah. Now it is time to approach the subject that Orcs has been waiting this entire episode to get to, and that is POM votes.
Palm votes, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like the Ziggs
Nope.
rune choices from earlier today.
No, it is.
It
It is.
leveling choices from today.
It is. Oh God, what
He
happened?
maxed W, not
Second.
E.
He's got a satchel for safety.
You
They
have that anyway.
actually increased the AP ratio of his E by 50%.
Only when you put points on it. It's actually lower at rank 1. You have to put... Yeah, anyway.
Yep. So basically, what we want to talk about is justice for supports.
Wow.
We've had one support doing very well. His name's Carrier. And you may have noticed he's been kind of popping off recently. So he's been getting a lot of POM votes. A lot of the Gumayusi fans have been quite upset about this because they feel like this is more of a slight to Gumayusi than a shout out to Carrier. We can allow you to address that if you would like. But Orcs, what's happened? Why do people hate support so much?
I actually had, as an introduction, Orcs' 5 tips to secure POM.
Okay, what's
So I
that?
prepared this. So number 1, make your big plays later in the series because voters might forget about you carrying game 1.
True.
Very important. 2, play flashy, stylish champions that make a big impact in team fights. Pretty straightforward. 3, have a great KD ratio. And I want you to note I said KD and not KDA because assists are just kills you fail to secure. Number 4, don't be on a team with Chovy, Carrier, or Viper.
What about Ruler?
I was thinking of adding him. Probably healthy not to be on his team either.
Got it.
And finally, and most importantly, is number 5.
Most importantly.
Forget all the other tips I just said and just be an 80 carry. It's that easy.
Right. One of also the best things to do is to not be on a desk, not be playing on a day where you are casting a POM vote. Because as it turns out, from the information that I have right here,
Stats.
you have only voted for support 7 times so far.
This year?
Yep.
No,
when
this must be round 3 to 5.
it might be round 3 to 5. I don't
3 to
care.
5.
I like to cherry pick the stats. Anyway, Chronicler has actually
year
put in
starts at the break
a
of the
lot of
groups.
work 9 votes for him. We've got 8 votes for We Did. Wolf, only 4. So
Yeah, I know. Wolf
unfortunately,
is the biggest
he's
traitor, man.
a little bit against the support. For me, 50% of my votes have been
Well, it's a
support
weird
votes.
way of saying you only voted for support once.
Shut up. I'm allowed to use my sample size
Valdez
Plus,
has never
however
voted.
I want.
Plus, I'm
Valdez
pretty
has never
sure
voted support.
because there's an additional caveat to this, right?
Oh, the counter
There's an additional
objection.
caveat because I'm
What's
pretty
that?
sure there's a day in which both We Did and Chronicler, it was like a double support POM vote, and I wasn't working that day.
Well, I do want to say that also so Wolf is the lowest, but you are actually the second lowest percentage-wise as far as support.
But I'm saying there's
what do you
literally-
have to say?
There's
for yourself?
literally a day where there was like a double support vote POM from Chronicler,
and that could have been
We
you
Did,
on
and that
any day
ramped up.
where you decided not to vote support.
But I remember there's been lots of days where I'm sitting at home and I'm like the other day when there was the Peter vote from Chronicler, and I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I would have voted for Peter, but I'm not working, so home trapped.
Okay.
The thing is, I'm not asking for
Okay.
every vote to be for supports, right? You misrepresented my position, but I just think it's crazy that we've had one support POM
That isn't
that isn't carrier in round 3 to 5.
And that was President
And-
Palu.
and
And
guys-
Valdez tried to vote against
And guys,
him.
you might have,
Crazy.
I just
Crazy.
mentioned the easiest way to get POM is being 80 carry. Let's look at the numbers, right?
Yeah, the numbers ain't great.
40% of POMs have been 80 carries, right? And look, what did we flame media for so long? What was media always doing? What were they doing? Boom, boom damage voting, right? And 80 carry is the most boom, boom damage roll there is. I'm not saying that every 80 carry didn't deserve it, right? But
So
I'm
what we're saying is that Keen deserved it because he not only did the sick tanking, but he also did the most damage in the game as Scion.
It's kind of
Yeah.
And
That is
he got snaked by Ruler in that game.
How it's just like
It's
every
like Vipers
game,
on the
it's
other
like
team.
it's just always 80 carry. I feel like so many games, it's just like
Ox, have you
when in doubt, 80
considered
carry.
that it is an 80 carry meta? And 80 carries are given a lot of agency. to
Have
do
you
boom
also
boom?
considered that perhaps our AD carries are really good and have just been playing better than everyone else on the Rift?
But I genuinely think on a lot of the games that I've watched, I'm like, okay, your team set you up, gave you a ton of gold, and then when you were 4K gold ahead, you left clicked them several times in a team fight, and the game ended.
That sounds like 80 carry slander.
That sounds like Braum.
Braum was the one who set them up.
Braum, like by just right-clicking,
yeah.
miss Q,
Occasional
walk up, hit.
Q, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did the
Engage
Q as
Braum.
well. I don't know. I just
Worthy
feel
of a
like
pun.
there's been a lot of instances where it
Right.
feels like people are just defaulting to 80 carry, and I'm like, I mean, like, how do I think he was the one who was? I feel like part of it is things are exacerbated by POM, right? Because I think when it was POG, you go into a game and you're like, okay, what won this game? There was this big play, or maybe there was this gank, or there was this factor, or these specific things. But when it's POM, you're thinking, oh, what's the average of the series?
Yeah.
And some people, media, might just look at the scores over the course of the series and then attribute that and be like, oh, well, the 80 carry played well across all 3 games. Or like, let's think back, like, we think back to the big team fights. Oh, well, the 80 carry was doing well. But like, I just think that the issues that we had in POG have been exacerbated because when it's POM, there's more nuance to it because it's not just like in a singular game, there's only so many conclusions you can draw.
And you also like have the problem where we had this in POG as well, where everyone's criteria was different.
Yeah.
But the criteria is now even broader.
Exactly.
Which is what you're talking about. So it
Digon,
does
you want to get
murky
coffee?
it.
These
a
guys
little
are
bit.
kind.
We're going in, man. I'm solutions oriented, but I don't know if there's like, do we just vote? Do you vote Pug for each game for both teams, and then you just remember what the score is if your team wins? So if it's a best of 3, and who's the Pug in game 2 where you lost? But then
Who are
game
you
3,
if you're not solutions orientated?
It's
Doesn't
extra
everyone
work.
want a solution?
No, I felt like we were.
No, I want-
yelling.
I
You
want-
provided
I
facts
want-
that you are the most support voter, and therefore we should just listen to you.
Yeah,
But
I'm
he wasn't
outta
listening. I
here.
felt like we're just yapping.
Yeah, no, it's a fair enough point.
Look, justice for 80 carries. 80 carries finally have agency. Okay, look, they finally have agency. Like, it's been a long time since we've been able to be like, okay, 80 carries can make big plays. We have a lot of 80 carries, like Corki, Varus, Yunara, okay, Sivir. She clears waves real well, man. It was like pretty
She
impressive.
also shields with a spell and stuff.
You actually get to play the game a little bit, do big boom boom. And sometimes when it's a longer series, you got to be like, well, he didn't die. You know, the enemy team was trying to kill him, and he flashed over the wall, and he didn't die. And then he did the boom boom, and that was his job. He did his job better individually across 2 games than anyone else. And so I gotta vote boom boom. I think it's a product of it being an AD carry meta, and also the fact that you vote across 2 games where AD carries often just, they're the ones that carry, and so when they don't die and they don't make mistakes and it's a hard vote, you just go, well, yeah, Rula did have a good KDA. He did pop off on that quirky. Guess I'll put the check in the box. Like, I'm obviously being a bit sarcastic, but I do think you can't fix this problem unless you, have a summit where you, explain everything you just said to,
you
every
explain
voter.
what the criteria actually has to be, and it's not all ambiguous, and VNcast doesn't get to just vote for Morgan
And
because
I'm
they
just
love
gonna
him.
keep, I'm just gonna keep
Thank
voting
you.
for AD carry when I'm tired after a long 3-gamer, and the AD carry did pop off in both wins. And I'm like, I think this is a pretty reasonable vote here.
And also, if you vote for it and they win, that means that
You were right.
a lot of people also voted
Why
for
don't we
them.
make a content segment where Ox explains Palm? It can be on both streams.
Yes.
That way, Chichizik and media.
Yes.
And
That's important.
Soup also get all the info.
That's right.
I just think the specific games I'm talking about is there's examples
Talking.
where
Talking.
I feel like so often when it's talking, we have scenarios.
Sorry. Guys, he's talking here.
We have scenarios where a lot of the work to win the game has already been done by the time the AD carry has that agency.
True.
And
Ruler,
I feel like
Ruler game 1 of today. Ruler game 1 today. You brought it up. He was cleaning up at the very end of the game. It was after
Duro. If it was POG, Duro wins. And also, I don't even know whether Ruler wins POG of game 2, but on average, he was better in both series. Because Duro was written off by having just a very forgettable Braum game.
but I feel like if you
so you can't vote for Duro anymore.
but I feel like if you flipped game 1 to game 3,
He still had a forgettable Braum game.
I don't think it matters at all. Because I think it's just the proximity. Because he was so impactful in winning game 1.
Recency
But the problem
bias
is
is definitely
it's
a
the
thing.
recency
Oh,
bias.
yeah. Recency bias is
And-
in that series is a bad example though, because I think it still goes to Ruler because he still looked good.
But also, sometimes you have to consider performances in the loss as well. It's like, oh, they lost game 2,
Oh,
but...
do you do
there's this
that?
other
Because
factor.
this is
I
the
do
other
a little
thing
bit.
when it
I
comes
do
to
a little bit.
criteria. I eliminate a loss in a series
If it's really close...
if you're predicting POM.
If it's really close, though, sometimes I give it a little shout. I'm like, oh, yeah, he played really well in game 2, though, because, player of the match, which was still... The loss was part of
See,
that.
the thing is, I feel like my criteria isn't super strict to the point where, I'll completely rule out a loss or I'll always, factor in the loss. But I feel like it depends on the weighting. But I think something
So if
that's...
supports play well in the loss, you'll keep the loss in the thing. Is that how it works?
That's
Not
actually...
quite.
I'm sorry, man.
But I think something
That was
that's
bad.
more true for how I look at the game that I think some other people look at the game, perhaps media,
What about Soup though? Can't they cop some of the shade?
yeah.
I want a summit. Hello. Thank
But
you
I-
for joining us, Mr. and Mrs.
This is just
Soup
content that has
Media
to be made.
Chick.
But I-
Orcs needs to tell everyone how to vote.
But I think it's to me the game is so much more dictated by sometimes you have a sick team fight that's really an AD carry pops off. Or, we've had games where Viper's just been on phenomenal form and you're like,
Yep.
it's obvious. I'm not saying AD carries don't deserve votes or something like that. But I'm just saying But I'm just saying
But I am saying that 40% of the time, everyone was wrong.
I'm saying 40% is a bit much, and I also think that there's a lot of games where they are fed as a result of what their team has done,
Yeah.
and then they're just cleaning up these team fights where they're so far ahead. You don't really have to do hard work, and it's just showboating over the enemy team. And so often, you have plays that are made by junglers, especially because we have a lot of one-sided games, right? And
Yep.
it's there's so many games where it's okay, we've had them where damn, the game looks doomed at this point. It's we're 60 minutes in, it's a 4,000 or 5,000 goal lead. Something crazy would have to happen for it to turn around. And if something crazy does happen, yeah, that's a talking point, but it's okay, how do we get here? Oh, there was a fantastic roam up to top lane. They got a playoff there, and then Dura recalled and covered bot. Oh, that was great. Who's POM? Oh, well, Ruler left click some heads really good, and right click some heads really good in the team fight. I'm okay, well.
Didn't even need to click their heads. You can actually click their knees and you still do the same thing.
I just think that's the thing is it just feels so extreme. like I know you guys are thinking I'm biased this way.
You're not. I don't think you're biased,
But
I just think that you're very passionate.
I just think you're very naive to think that these voters will just not go, well, Ruler played most consistent.
So
Sorry,
I also
Alex.
think that a lot of it is actually on us. I think we do have a lot of responsibility here.
I mean,
and not
according to the stats,
necessarily
I really
us,
do.
not necessarily us, but also the Korean broadcast as well. Because if you think about it, media votes will be influenced by the cast quite a lot.
Oh, that's
think.
what he means. Okay.
I think that Soup and Chijizik obviously are going to be 100% influenced by the broadcast or their favorite player. And if T1's playing it, it'll probably just like always, go to, it'll be a popularity contest and that sort of stuff over there. VN cast will always vote for Morgan.
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
we can sway them, by saying a lot of the VN
Do you think that perhaps we should have
Vietnamese
a-
listeners do listen to us?
Maybe we should have like a whole 5-minute per voter explanation, or not explanation, but like kind of short speech about why they think you should vote a certain way, and then we have the votes afterwards. So we could spend like say an hour laying
Yeah.
it out for each
So
one.
I think-
Chijizik gets a representative, right? Soup gets
And
a
then we can
representative
learn
media.
debate skills.
Yeah, and then you kind of like lay it, put it out on the line, and then the voters vote after hearing everything. That seems a little bit more fair.
Only if we reintroduce POGs, we could do that for every game.
Yeah,
so up
that's
to
really
6
important.
times a day.
And also, if your vote isn't then picked up and another vote gets through, you have to leave the island.
Okay, but how many seasons are we gonna do before we start kicking people? Or how many episodes are we gonna do before we start kicking people off the line to kind of explain the format?
Four.
And,
Yeah, I think it needs to have a new cast every time. Although I did like that season with Amber. She was cool because like when that guy pronounced her name, it was like really funny because it was from Boston.
Yamba.
Boston Rob. That guy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking
I
about
seriously don't know what you're
one of
talking
the
about.
seasons of Survivor is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I think that it's like it is really difficult, but I think that next time you're on the cast, to help get your frustrations out, you can be extraordinarily biased towards the support plays and like try and influence as best you possibly can.
Glaze
Because like
it.
this,
Yeah.
like the way people like vote for POM is based on like their feeling for who was doing the most. So you just have to make sure everyone knows all of those amazing things that Beryl did.
Yeah, I thought we were going somewhere in that direction.
What you can do also is you could do the kind of what we call oftentimes piggybacking, where the color commentator just yells in the middle of the play-by-play. Just go, "Oh, Delight!" and do it as loud as possible.
The light's not. He's already died like 20 seconds in.
Yeah, he's not even playing. You're just trying to bring it home from the first series.
He does like any of the small thing. Delight didn't even use heal. He didn't waste it. Like he hex flashed.
He's in base. Okay.
My roommate was on Survivor.
Really?
Yeah. She played a lot of League.
Cool.
Maybe we could get your
on
roommate
an island?
on POM Survivor.
Yeah, maybe. On Survivor.
She'd have some experience with it. They'd be able to vote and
Guys,
stuff.
I'm going to do a Degon here and tell you a crazy fact.
Oh, yeah?
It's been over 3 months since Dura last had a POM.
Whoa. I thought you were going to name drop.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were doing too.
So you know how I used to play for XL?
Ah, yeah.
Guys
laughing way
too hard.
The former CEO is on the latest season of...
You had
of
to even name drop Kion, right?
the
In
former
the middle of his
CEO,
sentence.
Kieran Darby, he's on the latest season of Love is Blind, UK.
Oh.
So I know him.
And Cadril.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on that team. Yeah.
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 Wait, hang on. You're also... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he was on that. And so
like-
my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, and my other brother's fiance, they both watch it. And so I'm like, I know that person. And they're like,
That's cool.
That's
That's
really
really... That's
so now,
really
so
cool
now
that you know
you've gotten to know what Degon does every day, like every hour.
yeah, how do you do this?
name
It's kind of
dropping.
annoying. I don't even like doing this.
because they're
Because
really
he's
cool
better.
people.
It's just about
They're really
more
cool
practice.
people.
It's just
Yeah.
more practice.
Deacon's doing it less recently. He told me about it because his therapist was actually Tom Cruise's therapist, and like they were talking to him about how he needs to work through his issues. Deacon was explaining this to me. They said sorry about the Tom Cruise name drop, but like we've been working through trying to do the name drops a little bit less.
And that's why Dagon also does all of his own stunts on the space as well, because like they got the same kind of no, it all makes sense.
My voice acting coach was the voice.
I think it's time for us to end this episode of the
Tell us about
Pugstate.
your
Thank you
Korean
so
teacher.
much for watching, everyone. Make sure you name drop down below who the most famous and cool person that you've met is, because that's what makes you cool. And we will see you in a few weeks for the next episode of the Pugstate. Bye bye.
Bye.